What's good, y'all? It's your boy Sean P, the Bluff guy. Hey! And I am back again with another reaction stream, another One Piece reaction stream, might I say. And today we will be reacting to a video uh, uh from Sunlight Alliance. We've done a video from Sunlight Alliance before, so we gotta show your boys some love again and do another one, right? Today's video is let me see what the actual video and that title is. It's the voice of all things solved, right? That's the title of the video we're reacting to today. And I mean, I seen like about 10 seconds of it, right? And he pretty much makes a statement saying, Usopp could have the voice of all things, and even Zoro, right? So, and then he even follows it up pretty much saying that anybody can have the voice of all things. I find this, the reason why I wanted to do this stream today is it's definitely a topic that's been on discussion on this channel, at least for a while, right? Like, I think me and Elson, I think, has talked about it. Me and Angel's Rooms has talked about it, going back and forth. We all got our own difference in opinions of what we think with observation hockey and how the voice of all things might work or whatever. Sorry, y'all. Got like, I know how y'all got like feel like hair or something. Not hair, but like just something in your throat or something. Something small. But yeah, so sorry, dang. But yeah, so we got the voice of all things, but we never really got any explanation, no deeper explanation of what the voice of all things is, right? Like, there's plenty of speculation on YouTube, probably Reddit. You'll probably find it on Reddit. I don't really dabble on Reddit too much to know much about Reddit, but yeah, there's plenty of theories about what the voice of all things entails and how you get it and all these things. So we're going to, see what Sunlight Alliance has to say about, what his opinion is on the voice of all things. I'll definitely give you guys my opinion. But before we get into that, first, let me say, make sure you show your boys some love and hit that like button, as well as the subscribe button and the bell for notifications. Also follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, and on my Facebook page, or on Facebook. I just need to say Facebook, right? And if you're looking for a One Piece community to be a part of, we have the One Piece Discord and the One Piece Facebook group. All of these will be linked in the description below, as well as the link to this video. So yeah, y'all. Hey, y'all notice, what I did earlier in the beginning of the stream, right? I cut out the beginning, the timer part out, so we could just get right into the stream, right? So I'm gonna test that out. Y'all let me know if y'all like it better like that, or if y'all like to kind of wait and chat before the stream starts in the beginning of the stream. Because if y'all want me to keep the countdown, I'll definitely keep the countdown. I know it might give you guys a idea, or what was I going to say? I know the countdown pretty much gives you guys a chance to come in and y'all could talk about whatever, before the stream come. And then once I hop on, you guys already talking and chatting and interacting. So let me know what y'all think about the intro. Should I keep the clock countdown or not? Yay or nay, right? Y'all can put a 1 in the chat if y'all want me to keep the clock. 2 in the chat if you want me to get rid of the clock. But let me read this chat, man. I see you guys. Don't think I forgot about you guys now. We got Elson Jackington in the chat. Shout out to Elson. And welcome to the stream, man. Welcome to the stream, man. He says, "My guy." Uh, yeah, man. Hey, thanks for showing up, bro. And Cube says, "Sup, squad." Hey, shout out to Cube. Shout out to Cube. Elson Jackington said, "My take on the voice of all things, or the voice of all creation, or the voice of all things, with regards to Luffy, is that his use of the ability will be revealed to be called the voice of the Supreme King." Okay. Interesting. Okay, I watched 10 seconds of the video, and Sunlight Alliance pretty much said he believes that anybody could get it. I already disagree with that notion right there. I like the idea that it's a special thing. I personally, Elson talking about the voice of the Supreme King. I personally think the voice of all things has something to do with maybe a combination, right? A combination of, or like an awakening of your observation and conquers, like a combined awakening, right? I don't think it's something anybody can get, or because again, I believe you might need Conqueror's Hockey to have the voice of all things. Everybody that we've seen I'm gonna take that back. I'm not gonna say that, but yeah, I think it might have something to do with both Conqueror's Hockey and observation hockey, right? But I think there are special cases to where you don't need it. Well, I was thinking some cases where you don't need like Shirahoshi, but I think Shirahoshi does have Conqueror's Hockey as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, y'all. Does Shirahoshi have or hockey in general, like conquerors and observation? Because I was going to say, I think like maybe in special cases you don't need those hockeys in order to have it. You know what I'm saying? But like Shirahoshi says she's Poseidon, right? That's more of a inherent thing, and maybe also Momonosuke as well. Q says, "I've got voice of all things. I can hear my neighbors every day." Nah, you just got loud neighbors. That's all. Angel's Room said, "Glad I'm not take." Cubes gave the one, or Angel's Room said, "Glad I'm not late." Shout out to Angel's Room. You're definitely not late, bro. You're definitely not late. Shout out to Angel's Room. Welcome to the stream. Cube with the one. Angel's Room with the one. So y'all want the countdown? That's what it's looking like. Y'all want the countdown. Elson Jackson says, "I'm happy either way," so you don't care about the countdown. It's looking like y'all don't want the countdown, or y'all cool with the countdown. I kind of forgot what I said 1 and 2. I'll tell you, I got a horrible memory. I got a horrible memory, y'all. Y'all gotta forgive me, man. But I'm pretty sure I said 1 was to keep the countdown, and 2 was to get rid of the countdown. Q says, "I think it's due to lineage." Yeah, I agree in some cases, like Momonosuke and Shirahoshi. I think with maybe other people like Roger, or maybe it could, right? Maybe Roger's from a special lineage. Maybe Luffy is. The monkey lineage is kind of special, right? Every generation of the monkey family is like, they heavy hitters in some aspects. So they're all like kings, right? So that could make sense, for Luffy as well. Odin was he had a royal lineage as well. His dad was the shogun. He probably would have been the shogun if not for Kaido and Orochi. But Elson Jacket to say, "I agree with that take, Bluff, Conqueror's Hockey, and or observation and Conquerors." Yeah, like I think it's it's something where they kind of work together to give you a new ability, right? Angel's Room said, "I know she has observation and armament and is hinted for Conquerors." Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe. I don't really remember. if she was confirmed to have any. I just remember in one of the previous streams we talked about her, and supposedly they I forgot who it was I was reacting to, and they pulled up the wiki of her having it, right? Like, you know, so I don't know, And Angel's Room said by the Sea Kings, for Conquerors by the Sea Kings. Yeah, yeah, she just like being Poseidon. I feel as though being Poseidon she has these inherited um these like inherited abilities, right? So I still would probably go on a limb and say Voice of All Things is, it could be an inherent trait, but like again, Conqueror's Hockey could be inherent as well. So if you inherit the abilities that let's say Shirahoshi has and Momonosuke has, maybe you just inherently have Conquerors in observation hockey, right? Like you might not be able to use it or have any mastery of it, right? But that don't mean you can't still have it and can't still inherently use it. At least that specific abilities, like with Shirahoshi, to be able to talk to the Sea Kings and command them, and moment, man, like a muscle car out there. You hear the engine, but yeah, like Momonosuke can communicate with Zunisha. He can hear her. He can hear Zunisha, and he can command Zunisha. So maybe they just have inherited observation and conquerors, right? It would make sense for them to have conquerors because they're both of royal bloodline, And I'm not saying like just because you're of royal bloodline, you automatically get it. Like, but their family, they're it's like not just any type of royal, right? Like there's plenty of kings and queens in One Piece, but not all of them are like special royal. There's just special maybe within their country, and outside of the world, they're just unimportant, right? But the Koski, they're royalty kind of, but they also have they have like an importance in the grand scheme of things in the world, right? Same with the Fishman royalty. So yeah, Cube says I don't see Shirahoshi or Momonosuke have hockey or at least decent level. Yeah, I mean I did see, again, I seen the Wikipedia page. I think they have it on there, but not Wikipedia, but like the One Piece wiki, right? Even though people could probably edit that, so sometimes you gotta take those with a grain of salt, right? But yeah, I don't think they can like just use observation hockey on a whim, right? But they could probably use it for like, at least they can use it to command these animals, But they may not be able to necessarily use them in the middle of a fight, right? Because they're not really even fighters, so they wouldn't use it in that sense. Elson Jackson said it hasn't been confirmed yet. Royal lineage would be at play for those two. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think there is something with their lineage, right? They come from a special family, right? So it's not just like having a royal lineage. It's more of a special royal lineage. That's kind of what I would get at, right? Like take Sabo's parents. Well, not Sabo's, because they wasn't like inherently royal. Like maybe not like Vivi, right? I mean, maybe Vivi, I guess. Like I'm not sure. I mean, her bloodline is a bit special. Like she's royal, but as far as we know, they're not like Shirahoshi special or Momonosuke, like the Koski special or the Fishman special. Angel's Room said Momo only has observation from what we've seen. it was data book if I remember the live correctly. Yeah, I mean it's probably in the data book. I don't know. I haven't read that, and I haven't read the data book with that in it, right? So I can't say. But all right, so I'm caught up on all the chat. So yeah, let's back to the video. Okay, we're talking about the voice of all things. Cube says, now that I think about it, Vivi understood Karoo, her bird. Wondering about that. I don't know. You know, I don't think that was something really meant to be taken like anything as like the voice of all things or anything. I think that's just kind of that's their dynamic, right, of their relationship. But I don't know, you know. I think sometimes, you know, like we can't take every single thing that's kind of like just maybe slightly unnatural in the world of One Piece as like as evidence of something grander, right? And I think that's kind of one of those things, you know. Andrew's Room said, I don't remember that. No, she didn't. Chopper did. I think he was just well trained. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember that either. You know, y'all be like sometimes y'all be like bringing up some of the most random small events in the story, and it's like, bro, like it's like, yo, the one time where Vivi was tying her shoes and some little dog walked up to her and said, "What up with you?" or something. Like, I'm like, I don't remember nothing like. Y'all be killing me with some of the examples y'all use. It'd be like some random, obscure. Like, man, if Oda, you like, if there was more to like Vivi talking to Karoo, man, I can't with Oda, man. I can't with Oda. It's like every single thing is a clue. It's some level of foreshadowing. Y'all be killing me, man. Y'all probably got theories of like every single moment in One Piece, man. Oh man, y'all got me dying out here. Cube says I need to rewatch that. Angel Room says she was surprised when Chop read that. You're right. So Cube pretty much said you're right. And then Angel's Room said Chopper had to translate for the crew. I do remember Chopper translating Karoo at one point. You know. But yeah, man, let's get to this video. The link to Sunlight Alliance's video will be in the description box. So y'all make sure y'all check that out. Go show him some love. Hit that like button. But let's get into this video.
Usopp has the voice of all things. Zoro has the voice of all things. Hell, anyone can have the voice of all things. You might not believe me now, but just wait. By the end of the...
Bruh, you really gotta appreciate Sunlight Alliance, how he just gets right into it, man. Like, my boy ain't come on like, yo, this Sunlight Alliance. Nah, he just... First line, Usopp has the voice of all things. He hit you with that punch right away, right? Right what we gonna talk about. First thing he talks about. Let's continue.
This video, you will see One Piece like you never have before. In life, we have language. Language acts as a communicative device that differs between cultures and groups of people. However, there are other ways of communication that override the limitations of speech, like telepathy. It is not a proven form of communication, but in theory exists on a wavelength that only some with the ability are able to sense. This wavelength grants communication between animals, plants, and people of different languages, unconfined to the limitations of speech and sound. Why does this seem so familiar? Because you already know what this is within the story. This, on a surface level, is the voice of all things. However, the voice so commonly referenced throughout the story goes much deeper than that. Something I'm going to bring up a lot is souls. These two things go hand in hand and can be hard to differentiate. Consider souls the energy or spirit of living beings. Each soul has a distinct personality and a specific voice. Souls can be ingrained naturally within inanimate objects like swords, boats, poneglyphs, or trees, granting them the voice of that soul, which can be heard via the ability of the voice of all things. Okay, so the whole Zoro thing at the beginning most likely caught you off guard. You probably think I'm crazy, right? Zoro has never been able to hear Zunisha or the Sea Kings like Luffy. Well, before you cut my head off, let me explain. Did you know the—
Hold on, before he gets to Zoro, I kind of want to speak on Zoro real quick. I kind of want to speak on Zoro. I think, okay, so we know about the voice of all things, and I don't know, maybe Zoro doesn't have the voice of all things, but he knows the breath of all things, which is definitely another concept separate from the voice of all things that we're aware of. And I think we probably know less about the voice of the breath of all things than we do the voice of all things. But I do think the voice of all things probably trump the breath of all things, because I think the breath of all things, because remember back in Alabasta, the Zoro versus Mr. Bones, or what's his name? Mr. One, right? Zoro versus Mr. One, and he pretty much, that was kind of the first part when we get the whole you could cut nothing or anything, right? Remember that? So, I mean, I don't really know how, like, I don't think we really dived much into the breath of all things to really, it's hard to, I think that also has something to do with hockey. Maybe like observation and I would kind of say observation to a degree, maybe armament and observation, or maybe I don't know. I don't know how. I do think it has something to do with observation, right? Because remember, it was like a rock. I think it was a rock that fell, and Zoro was pretty much he was able to sense that rock, right? So, you know, maybe they work in conjunction with each other. So, like, what y'all like, what's your ideas on the breath of all things? You know, Cube says Usopp already has the LOAT, the lies of all things. I think I think Usopp is the lie of all things, man. Angel Room said Luffy gonna be vegan by the end of One Piece. Nah, never that. You wow with that. You got the lies of all things, Angel's Room. You got the lies of all things. I doubt he'll ever go vegan. Luffy love meat too much. Pause. Like he love meat too much, man. Like it's like his favorite thing in the world. Like that's like part of the reason he don't want to be a hero, right? Because he said like heroes have to share their meat, and you know he ain't with that. Angel's Room said the breath of all things confirmed. Yeah, man. Like it's tough, man. Cause I'm kind of on a I kind of want to say the voice of all things might also entail armament hockey as well. I kind of want to say that, like the projection of it, right? Well. Okay, maybe not. I'm kind of looking at it like, you know how armament hockey is kind of a projective ability. Like you could project. Like you could wear it as an armor, but then I think with like Rio, you could project, right? Like when Luffy hit that tree, and he didn't even really touch the tree. He just kind of like punched towards it, and then it like blew up, right? Or when you rip the cuffs off of the collar, right, and then it blows up in the inside, it's almost like you're projecting hockey into the cuff, and then it explodes, right? So I kind of think when it comes to the voice of all things, it might also entail armament as well, as for like the ability to project your voice or something, you know, if that makes sense. But you could also say that's probably a result of Conqueror's hockey, because Conquerors, you kind of project your will on people as well. It's like when Shanks goes on the Whitebeard ship and his hockey is like making people pass out. It's because he's projecting his will on them pretty much, and his will is so strong that they can't really remain conscious in his presence. You know, where Luffy has to actively do Conqueror's haki, right? He has to actively project his will on a certain amount of people. You know, like he did back at Fishman Island, right? When what was it like? There was like I think it was 100,000 fishermen in there, and he could only knock out like half of them. And I think he said Shanks probably would have done like all of them, or it was something along that line that he said. Somebody let me know in the chat what like how many fishermen there was, and you know what he said after he knocked him out, right? Elson Jenkins, I'm sorry, y'all, my nose is a little stuffed today. Elson Jenkins said, I like that Breath of All Things being tied to Conqueror's haki or observation and armament. I don't know, you know, because I feel as though we haven't really seen a lot of it, you know, but like again, Zoro, who's probably like the expert in armament, you know, where we like when we look at the monster trio, we look at Luffy being like the like his strength being Conqueror's haki, Sanji's being observation, Zoro's being armament. And back when we seen Zoro like use the Breath of All Things, saying like he could cut anything or nothing at all. I think it might have something to do with armament, you know, because his ability to be able to cut anything, you know, I would say that might have something to do with armament, and his ability to be able to sense an inanimate object, you know, I would say that's definitely something with Conqueror, or not Conquerors, but observation. But again, we don't really know much about the Breath of All Things. It's kind of hard to talk about it. I know me and Eliz talked about it before, and you know that was a good conversation. I forget what video that was in. Cube said 50,000 fishermen were knocked out. Yeah, that's what I thought. So. Angel's Room said, I thought Shanks activated his because he was going into enemy territory. I don't think he just always has it on. That might be the case. We don't know. I don't know. That definitely makes sense, you know, for him to actively, you know, because he was in enemy's territory. Maybe he was just trying to, you know, show what he can do, right? But they kind of made it. They kind of how they was making it sound like on the like Marco. It was kind of making it sound like if you're near Shanks, you know, you gotta pretty much have a strong will, like almost like innately, like you know, like how they almost like when they was talking about Shanks after he came in the ship, and they pretty much even warned some of the other crew members. It was almost like he just has it activated all the time or something, you know, whether that's subconsciously or, you know, on like consciously, like, I don't know, you know, but yeah, let's continue.
The voice of all things was actually introduced by Zoro? That's right, all the way back in Alabasta when Zoro fought and defeated Mr. One of Baroque Works. The rocks, I could feel something alive in them, breathing. Trees with heartbeats of their own. I could hear it, the breathing of his steel. These were comments made directly by Zoro. So what does this mean? This tells me that there are levels to this ability. Let's refer to this as level 1, the ability to sense. This first level is able to be achieved by those who are more in tune with nature or those who have an innate talent for observation haki. Examples being Kobe during Marineford and Agia during Skypiea, who both wept while the voices in their respective battles started to disappear. They didn't quite know what was happening, but they could sense the voices. Now Usopp, who is able to sense the soul of Sugar, is another great example. Even Fujitora in that same arc was able to sense the souls and emotions of those around him through this ability, which makes sense given his condition. This is why anyone can can learn the voice of all things, because the voice of all things is not purely an inherited ability. The voice is a wavelength that is perceivable to all.
I disagree with him already, but I think because this is kind of like what me and Angel's Room was kind of going back and forth with, right? Except he's calling it the voice of all things, so I could at least somewhat kind of agree that maybe they have the voice of all things. But Angel's Room was kind of like I think it was it me and you that was arguing this about you was saying like just observation hockey, you could hear voices. He's calling the voice of all things. So it was like, I don't know, I don't think like with voice of all things, I don't think it's necessarily you have to be of a special lineage. But again, I don't think just anybody can have it. I think there may be a set of prerequisites you gotta have. Like maybe you have to be someone who's in tune with your emotions and other people's emotions, kind of like Kobe at Marineford, right? Kind of like Luffy. Luffy's like that, right? He's in tune with other people's emotions. That's why he always does the right thing when he needs to. Like remember Vivi was having her mental breakdown and he punched her in the face. It was like, why would you punch her? But it worked, right? It worked in the end. So Luffy obviously knew what he needed to do, right, to get to her. So Luffy's emotionally in tune with people. You could say the same thing with Kobe, right? You could with like this little girl being so young. You might be able to say same thing with her. I don't think it's just an observation hockey thing, though, right? Angel's Room said probably wasn't Shank's first time entering their territory. I mean, there is a story for his scar, so maybe they just expected him to have it activated. Yeah, I mean, that could be the case, but maybe not. Maybe Shanks just always has it activated. Maybe it's not like Marco said he only activates it when he comes around here. He it was kind of the context of how Marco said it, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not. That's not like something I'm trying to argue. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. It's not an argument I'm making with you. Like maybe it's definitely the case. I agree with you. I said, and he says, I said with just observation hockey, you can hear the voices of other humans. Yeah, I disagree with that. I think it's definitely a voice of all things trait. Because that's kind of it's in the name, voice of all things. Voice being, like I don't think. Like we haven't seen anybody who's like Zoro or Sanji. Well, Sanji kind of has like a unique thing where he could hear women, right? He could hear women in trouble. I always kind of looked at that as a running gag, right? Kind of like Nami punching Luffy and injuring him. I kind of looked at it as a running gag towards Sanji's character, But you could probably say when it comes to women, Sanji has the voice of all. But I think he's so in tune with women that it's kind of like he has the voice of all things that's specially tuned in to women, And Zoro probably has it to where it's like tuned in with his swords, Because like I said, I believe that the voice of all things might play on like a emotional spectrum, right? Where you have to be in tune with a certain frequency to be able to hear it, right? Angel's Room said, voice of all things give you the ability to talk with other animals. I partially disagree with that. I don't think I partially disagree with that because I don't think Luffy could talk to Sea Kings or like he wasn't able to talk to Zunisha, right? But we see like Luffy has kind of he's able to communicate with animals just Like, I don't know if I say that's the voice of all things, because he's always kind of been able to kind of be friendly with animals or like communicate to a basic level. But but yeah, Cube says I could be a special brand. It could be a special brand of observation hockey, hearing the voices to a whole new level. Um, it, well, yeah, that's kind of why I say I think Voice of All Things has something to do with observational hockey and Conquerors. I think it's like a mix. At the very least, it's something related to the observational hockey or yeah, observation hockey. You know, whether it has something to do with Conquerors hockey, I don't know. I think in order for Luffy to be able to project his voice, I think that's kind of outside the scope of what observation hockey entails. So I think his ability to be able to project has something to do with either Conquerors or Armament. You know, it's just a matter of which one, right? Um, but I do believe that the Voice of All Things is related to observation. Sunlight Allowance, Sunlight Alliance, man, sorry. Uh, Shout out to Sunlight Alliance, and welcome to the stream, man. Welcome to the stream. He said, "Thanks for reviewing the video. Hope you enjoyed it." Yeah, we not done yet. We still watching. We still watching, bro. Elson Jackson said, "Frequency related. Nami has a weather type connection similar to those examples." Bluff. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, she's in tune. You're saying like how she's in tune with the weather. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. You know, that's a good point. But I don't. But let me say this too. Let me also say this. I believe that the voice of all things is more of a you have you have a you can hear all things, right? To where those are more very specialized and condensed to a specific frequency. So that kind of contradicts the all things aspect of it, right? So in I'm about to contradict myself and I'm kind of actually going to support Angel's Room, right? I do believe that like maybe it's not a voice of all things type situation. Maybe it's kind of a observation hockey, but you can only really hear what you're in tune to. So maybe maybe Angel's Room. Maybe you got a point, man. Maybe you got a point. I'll give you that. Maybe you might have a point. You know, because maybe like if you're in tune with something, you could use observation hockey to be able to hear, you know what I'm saying? Like Sanji loves women so much, so he's always in tune to their feelings and their emotion. So he could somehow be able to sense with his observation hockey a woman in distress, because that's pretty much what his observation hockey is tuned to. You know, because I've always said that observation hockey kind of evolves with the user. You know, like I've said that about Usopp, right? Like how he has awakened observation hockey is because he's a sniper, right? Like that's how he fights. He's a sniper. So it evolved. He awakened it in as a complement to his sniper skills. You know, where Katakuri and Luffy, they're more hand to hand, close range fighters. So their observation hockey awakened to to see the future, and you know, so you know that's their frequency. Their frequency is hand to hand fighting. So that's how their observation hockey evolved. So with Sanji, his observation has evolved to a point where he can sense or he can hear the voices of troubled women. You know what I mean? So yeah, there could be there. You know, maybe you're right, but I don't think like Sanji could hear everybody's voice, right? I don't think it's going to be at a level of the voice of all things. You know, like he wouldn't be able to hear a man who's in trouble or a kid who's in trouble. Like that's kind of what I'm saying. Luffy was still. Elson Jackson said Luffy was still early in his hockey development, where voice of all things must be tied to the progression of his hockey. Yeah, I mean, with the voice of all things, I think is a very special uh awakening, right? I think having the voice of all things, I don't know if I agree that anybody can have it. Can you have like a lesser voice of all things, like a voice of some things? Yeah. And that's pretty much where I'm getting at with this whole, what I was just saying. And Angel's Room said you can only hear what you want to hear with observation. This is what I was trying to say to you on Discord. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I'm giving you that. Like maybe you were onto something. Like I said, the voice of some things. But again, I don't think you gotta have a special level of in-tuned observation hockey, I would say. And that's maybe. I'm not even saying I fully agree with that thought process, Angel's Room. I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate right now, right? I'm kind of playing on your side. Elson Jackson says Viola has the basic cheat observation cheat code. Pretty much, she got what's it called? She can see everything. It's something with O, like I can't remember what it's called. Somebody give me the word where you can see like everything, right? I can't. Elson Jackson said a branch of the voice of all things. I like it, much like hockey blooms. Voice of all things blooms. Yeah. So I would say that I don't think, but like I still disagree, Angel's Room, that it's just observation. I believe that it's still kind of a level beyond just normal observation. The ability to hear voices. I think that's more of a more advanced. That's more an advanced level of observation hockey. I still don't. I still disagree that observation hockey, you can hear voices with basic observation hockey. I still think it's more of an advanced observation hockey, which to me, again, the voice of all things, I would also say is advanced observation hockey. And I would think that the voice of some things, that's what I'm gonna call it. The voice of some things, I think, is also an advanced, or it's also a level of observation hockey, just more advanced, right? But let's continue.
Those who have reached that level. Zoro was not the only one with the ability to hear the voice of all things earlier on in the story. Luffy, before even becoming aware of hockey, was able to use this first level as well. During Jaya, when we are first introduced to Blackbeard, Luffy and Zoro point out something that has been discussed and debated for over 15 years in the community. There's more than one. There is nothing in the story that explains their ability to sense Blackbeard's abnormality than this. It makes perfect sense because Blackbeard has more than one voice, or rather, more than one heart. I'm not going to go too deep into this theory, but I'll link the full Blackbeard theory by Evil down below in the comments if you want to check it out. A part of that theory is because of the mythical zone Blackbeard consumed, he has 3 hearts, which is why he was able to consume 2 more devil fruits. We already know that the hearts of people in One Piece are directly correlated to the soul, as demonstrated by Law during Punk Hazard. Thus, Luffy and Zoro were sensing the voice of other souls or hearts within Blackbeard's body. This isn't even the only connection to the voice of all things during Skypiea. Skypiea actually gives us more exposition on the voice of all things than any other arc in One Piece prior to Wano. Once the Straw Hats reach Skypiea, Usopp encounters a spirit aboard the Merry Go. This legend is known as Klaboterman, and forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. This entity is described as a manifestation of a ship's soul that appears when a ship is loved and cared for to warn the sailors of danger. What happened here is that Usopp's will to protect Mary amplified the will of the soul within Mary, which led to the manifestation of Klaboterman. That is also how the legend was born, because anybody with an immense will is able to affect the will of other souls.
Yeah, man, and that's the thing. You see, Usopp had like an obsession. It was like, you know. And at this point, he didn't have observation haki, but he still was so connected, like all the Straw Hats, right? Like at all these examples he's using, they didn't even have observation haki. Like they know what it was, but like we seen Zoro kind of use the voice, the breath of all things. We're kind of classifying as haki, and it's like this is even before he was even a real observation haki expert. It's just he's so in tune with his swords and blades in general, especially with Mr. One being like a blade. He was almost like a living sword, right? It was like Zoro was a lot easier for Zoro to be in tune with, because Zoro being a swordsman, he's like spiritually about his swords, right? Sanji, you could say, is spiritually about cooking and women. So he has his mind and everything is so in tune with it. I don't think this is normal observation haki, and I'm kind of directing at Angel's Room because we kind of went back and forth about it. I don't think it's normal observation haki, you know, but I do think it is, like, again, I call it the voice of some things, you know. Angel's Room said the only reason why I think it's normal is because the doctor who told Kobe he had observation said something like hearing voices is common sign for observation haki. Okay. Shoot that to me in the Discord where that was said. But let's continue.
Why do you think Zoro is always talking about bending the will of his blade? He's not just a crazy lunatic who talks to swords. Each of his swords has a will and a voice, just like Mary did. What do you think that Grim Reaper was in one of the latest chapters? It was the manifestation of Enma, the blade literally named after the god of death, just like Clobotoman was a manifestation.
Bro, we need some more about that. Like we need some closure of what's going on with Zoro and what happened with that whole Grim Reaper, right? Like I'm hoping that one of these next few chapters that we get something with Zoro. Like what's going on with Zoro, right? Like come on, y'all. How is he seeing death manifestation, right? Like how is he seeing that? Like I actually kind of agree. I do think that might be a manifestation of Zoro's sword. The fact that Zoro's sword is pretty much the name of Enma is the king of hell, you know. We look at the Grim Reaper, you know, some people might call him like the king of hell, maybe not the king of hell, maybe like the king of death. But, you know, death and hell are very close, right? I mean, just because you die don't mean you're going to hell, but, you know, it's similar, it's related, right? So, again, you know, okay, I don't see it, but let's continue.
Of Mary, the Grim Reaper was a manifestation of Enma. Okay, sorry, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here, so let's get back to Skypiea, where we actually have two more obvious hints to the voice of all things. The first being Azia, as mentioned earlier, the second being the ancestor trees. What did we establish at the beginning? Souls can embed themselves within things like trees. What do souls have? A voice. What types of trees were these? They were white trees. And what are white trees like the whale tree stated to have in the story? They are stated to have voices. I hope you can see where I'm going with this. The connections are planted everywhere. You just have to look hard enough to see them. Now, to finish this segment off, let's go ahead and do a little trivia. What is the last thing in Skypiea that has a voice? Is it A, Chopper screams of agony as he fights the dumb guy with candle hair? Is it B, Enel as he makes his surprise face? Or is it C, the poneglyph? The Kozuki are said to be the creators of the poneglyphs. Somehow, when Roger visited the poneglyph in Skypiea, he was able to hear a strong voice emitting from it. Another YouTuber, Best Generation, who actually inspired me to finally put this huge video together, brought up a great point in his video about the voice of...
Shout out to Best Generation.
of all things, the souls of the Kozuki are now residing within the poneglyphs that they made, just like the souls of the Shandoran ancestors resided within the white trees. This is what Roger heard, the voice of the Kozuki souls, lingering, waiting, guiding. I hereby guide this document to its end. Have you ever considered what the poneglyphs were made for? They aren't just there to be a historical puzzle, they are there to preserve erased history and to guide the right people to the right place at the right time. They were made to guide those who will bring the dawn upon a world of darkness. But wait, Roger and Odin weren't the ones meant to do that. Luffy is. Well, yes, but each generational shift, there are those born with the potential to be those people. However, the true dawn cannot come unless certain pieces are all in place at the same time, which is why Roger and Odin were too early. They were missing fundamental pieces to the puzzle. The three ancient weapons. Pluton, Poseidon, and Uranus. The three ancient weapons surrounded in mystery. Let's explore what we know as a fact. 1. Poseidon is Shirahoshi, who can control the Sea Kings. 2. Pluton is a ship capable of destroying islands. 3. The poneglyphs in Alabasta and Skypiea share the location of Pluton and Poseidon respectively. How can we use the voice of all things to determine the other ancient weapon wielders besides Shirahoshi? Let's start with the most obvious example, Momonosuke. Like his father, Momo has the voice of all things. However, there is a striking difference between the two. Momonosuke was able to command Zunisha just like Shirahoshi is able to command the Sea Kings. With this power, Momonosuke could order Zunisha to replenish Wano, destroy parts of the Red Line, or even walk for another 1,000 years. Momonosuke probably isn't going to do that. But because of this, I think it's safe to assume that Momonosuke is most likely one of the remaining two ancient weapons. So who is the other? I, like most people, am putting my money on Vivi. There are a multitude of reasons why people have speculated that Vivi is an ancient weapon, but the one thing that does it for me is this scene right here. Vivi on top of the clock tower tries so hard to stop the war happening below her, but her voice just doesn't reach. Oda himself has pointed out how hard this scene was for him to write and how important it is to the story. What does the voice of all things allow people to do? As we saw Luffy do in Wano, it allows those at a higher level to telepathically speak to others without using speech. If Vivi had the voice of all things, she wouldn't have to struggle to tell everybody below that the war is over. So next to Vivi being a part of royal lineage that dates back to the Void Century, just like Momonosuke and Shirahoshi, plus
Yeah, I think Vivi is capable of having it, right? Like I do. I mean, as far as we know, though, I don't think she has any, and I don't know if I believe that she is an ancient weapon. Cause like which one, right? You know, cause I this is something I always go back and forth in my head, right? Like we know that Pluton was a ship, right? Now maybe it wasn't, you know. Maybe it wasn't, you know. Maybe that's just kind of what is like a red herring. Like they made people believe it was a ship or not. But we're just going to have to go with it was a ship because that's kind of what the story has said, right? Like, you know, a lot of people try to equate it to be a Zunisha, which I'm actually not against the idea of Zunisha possibly being Pluton because you could look at Zunisha and say, you could probably classify her as a ship, right? You know, I mean, you can't really steer her or anything like a traditional ship, but it travels the ocean. You know, Zunisha, I believe, you know, a right size island, Zunisha could probably destroy, maybe trample on it, right? Because Zunisha is that big. So I think Zunisha could be potentially capable of destroying islands, right? Maybe not just any island, you know, it might have to be like a smaller island, you know, because Zunisha is big, but I mean, I gotta see how Zunisha is compared to like an average size island, right? And Wano is big, and plus it's kind of like on the mountain, so it's a little different, right? I mean, I know Zunisha would tower over any island, but I don't know if like just the size of the island, you know, it might take a while for Zunisha to destroy. But as far as we know, Shirahoshi is Poseidon. Pluton is said to be a ship, right? A ship. But what about Uranus, right? Like, is Vivi Uranus or Momonosuke Uranus? And then if one of them, you're telling me the other one's going to be Pluton. I mean, I guess you could probably say Momonosuke could be Pluton, right? You know, you could probably finesse and say Pluton wasn't a ship; it was a boy who could control a ship. And if let's say they classify Zunisha as a ship, then I mean, I guess that's how Oda could finesse it, right? That's how Oda could finesse it. And then Vivi could be Uranus, I guess. Even though Vivi seems like she's more connected to Pluton than Momonosuke would be, because they said Pluton was in Alabasta, right? That's what Crocodile was pretty much searching for, Pluton in Alabasta. So she's the one probably more she's the one more closely connected with Pluton. So if she's Pluton, what does that mean about this whole rumor of it being a ship? You know, maybe the whole ship thing was a red herring to trick people, right? Like if they're looking for a ship, they'll never look for the real Pluton. So I mean, it could be that as well. Maybe Vivi is. Maybe she can control ships, right? Maybe she can like command any ship on the ocean, so she could command an enemy ship. Like maybe hey, I don't know. You know, that's weird. But let me read these chats. Angel Room said about to send a link. Just sent it. Yeah, I heard it. I heard a notification. Sunlight Alliance says highly recommend checking out Morge's theory on Zunisha's Momo Pluton. Yeah, we could check that out. I'll check that out sometime. But I mean, but why? But again, if Momonosuke is the one related to Pluton, why were they pretty much saying Pluton was in Alabasta, right? Unless maybe Zunisha has some ties to Alabasta too, right? Maybe that's where she was commanded to go until told otherwise. I don't know, you know. But let's continue.
Plus, all the tie-ins to Pluton during Alabasta, the voice of all things being introduced in Alabasta, and this heartbreaking moment during the final act, it almost feels like it wouldn't make sense if she wasn't revealed to be an ancient weapon. Later on in the story, she or Luffy will use the voice of all things to stop a great battle. And I think this moment will come full circle with one of the most satisfying payoffs in One Piece history. Okay, so what's up with this eye? And what does it have to do with the voice of all things? Like I've stated before,
Are we talking about eyes now? Like Eam and Mihawk? Cause I got some ideas on that, but I kind of want to save that for I want to save that for a different video. You know, I might do a stream because I got like I've been saying this forever. I know, guys, I've been saying this forever, but I got some stuff I want to do. It's just finding the time to start doing a little research because I want to do something about Mihawk, right? Like we know Mihawk got that special eye. We know Eam got that special eye, and I think those eyes are very, like, especially now that he's about to talk about the Eye of Enlightenment, you know, and maybe I'm completely wrong of thinking where he's about to go, but I think those eyes are special. I don't think they're just some aesthetic decision that Oda made, you know, because when I think of Mihawk, I'm thinking of somebody who either he got that eye maybe through like a bloodline, like a lineage thing, kind of like how Uchiha get the Sharingan. Maybe Mihawk's family, they get that eye, which would mean maybe he's related to Eam somehow. Now I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, you know, but or maybe Eam just also has that thing too, and maybe there's like a, you know, maybe Mihawk has come from Eam's bloodline, right? Like maybe Eam he's kind of the original, and you know, down the line you get like Mihawk. I don't know, you know, just kind of putting that out there. But when I think of that eye, I'm always looking at observation hockey, because one thing I know from Mihawk and his, like, he's inspired by like eagles and hawks, right? Like the birds of prey that we know of. And when you like the thing with eagles and hawks are they have like the best vision in the animal kingdom, right? As far as like they can see animals from like I might not want to say miles. I don't know about miles, but like maybe yards and like hundreds of yards or whatever. Like they could see pretty far. That's all I'm gonna say. They could see pretty far, and if that's the case, that has a lot to do with observation, right? When we look at observation hockey, what do we think? We think observation. We think seeing, being able to see things, being able to see the future, being able to see what's about to happen in the next 2 seconds, or being able to sense something, right? So I'm thinking that eye has something to do with some awakened version of observation hockey that's like the highest level of observation hockey, right? So that would kind of be me saying that maybe Mihawk has like the highest level of observation, right? So, which kind of makes sense when you look at Shanks. He probably has like the highest level of conquerors, and then Mihawk probably has like the highest level of observation. And there might be somebody out there that got like the highest level of armament, right? Who I don't know. Maybe Blackbeard or something. I don't know. I'm just throwing. Maybe Buggy, right? Buggy is part of that Mihawk Shanks trio. But Elson Jacketon said if Vivi, Momo, and Shirahoshi are the ancient weapons, then splitting information out makes sense. Wouldn't want the key poneglyph and key or in vehicle too close in proximity. I mean, yeah, that's right. It would actually make sense. Like I could see. Let me finish your comment first. Said Pluton, PG, Alabasta, Poseidon, PG, Shandora, Uranus, PG, probably on Wino. Just throwing it out there. Like, let me say that, right? Like, I think it was meant to make, like, maybe in the ancient kingdom, they was like, hey, make people think that Pluton is a ship, right? Even though Pluton may not, like, Pluton still might have something to do with a ship, but it may not be a ship, because if people are looking at Pluton to be a ship, they're going to be looking for a ship, right? But if Pluton is really a person that can pretty much control a ship, right? Like, I mean, I guess maybe they command ships, right? Like, I don't know, Maybe Pluton still is related to a ship that can destroy islands. It's just the ship itself isn't Pluton, But let's continue.
4. There are different levels to the voice of all things, just like there are different levels to hockey. Being more in tune with the voice's wavelength means one has become more in tune with the core at the heart of everything. The first level is the ability to sense and feel this wavelength. Zoro in Alabasta, Ozzy on Skypiea, Kobe during Marineford, these are all examples of that level. Level 2 is the ability to listen. Luffy and Roger both demonstrated this level at Fishman Island, plus Roger and Skypiea. The third level is the ability to communicate. The only example of this being Luffy after he was knocked off Onigashima. The next level, level 4.
I would bump each of those levels up one, right? I would say that level 1 that he said is really level 2, and then level 3 is really level 4. And I would say level 1 is just a simple, and this is kind of where I disagree with Angel's Room, right? I think level 1 of hockey, because from what I got from Angel's Room when we was kind of arguing, is he said anybody with observation hockey could pretty much hear things. I disagree with that. I think the most basic form of hockey is kind of like a split second precognition, kind of like spider senses, kind of like when Luffy came back to Sabaody and the Pacifista came and the Pacifista blast at him, and he just kind of like, he was able to sense that blast coming in enough time to be able to move with ease, right? That's kind of like seeing in the future, but not at the level as Katakuri, right? Where Katakuri could see way, way earlier, right? And but that is more of a like, okay, you could sense it as it's about to happen, right? So, and then level 2 is where I think the the communication might start coming in, where you can actually hear certain things within the frequency that you're more in tune to. Something like Zoro being able to or like, let me kind of go back what he said. So okay, the abilities.
Ozzy on Skypiea, Kobe during Marineford. These are all.
So Zoro's pretty much ability to be able to sense, and almost feel like Daz Bones' body, right? Because he's pretty much like a sword himself. He's like a living sword, and Zoro's ability to sense his swords, the will of his sword, right? And Kobe as well. I think that's more of a level 2 thing. And then let's go.
Examples of that level. Level 2 is the ability to listen. Luffy and Roger both demonstrated this.
Now, I would say, so level 2, like the one he said was level 1, where it was like the ability to sense. That would also probably play into like future sight, the ability to sense, but it's just a more advanced form of maybe level 2, right? Which would be the ability to listen. Now, ability to listen, I would probably say would be more of a level 3, right? Maybe a level 3, right? But let's continue.
This level at Fishman Island, plus Roger and Skypiea. The third level is the ability to communicate. The only example of this being Luffy after he was knocked off Onigashima.
And then I would say, yeah, but now we're kind of going into voice of all things type stuff. Like I think up to maybe level 2, I think that's where it kind of falls off from just observation haki, and then everything above, which is like the ability to listen and the ability to communicate. I think that's when you're getting more into the voice of all things, But let's continue. But hold on, let me read what y'all saying. Elsa Jacketon says, or hold on. Let me go up a little bit. Elson Jacketon says, in this scenario, the location for each, Pluton will be in Wino. Okay, got you on that. Poseidon, Fishman Island. Yeah. And Uranus in Alabasta. Okay, so he's saying it's pretty much switched. Even though, okay, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Angel's Room said, hear human voices. Elsa Jackets. I'm not sure where you. I'm pretty sure you was responding while I was talking, so you gonna have to refresh my memory, Angel's Room, or where you're kind of responding, because I just see it, hear human voices, and I'm kind of confused what you're talking about, like with what I said that you're talking about, Elson Jackson said, which could mean Jaya was probably designed to house the fishermen, merfolk, probably Mouth Bay. Curious. Interesting to me. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. But that's interesting, man. But let's continue.
The next level, level 4, is the highest form of the voice of all things one can have. I will refer to this level as enlightenment. The only other level there is not really a level at all, but a lineage-based ability to control ancient creatures held only by the ancient weapons. Back to enlightenment, why did I use this name? Because this I is actually a reference to Buddhism. The enlightenment stage of Buddhism grants the enlightened person the knowledge of all things. This is also what heavily influenced.
Hey man, shout out to Sunlight Alliance for giving me some useful information that I could use in my Mihawk my Mihawk theory that I'm gonna eventually do a stream about when I collect enough information. But let's continue, because I didn't know the eye was like some Buddhism thing, right? Because especially with Mihawk, right? Because Mihawk's theme is heavily influenced by Christianity, not like Buddhism, but it's still religion in a sense, right? Let's continue.
influenced the Rinnegan in Naruto, which looks eerily similar to the eye we see in One Piece. I suspect that people or elephants with this eye have reached the highest form of awareness of this wavelength. They can see souls, they can talk with the voice of trees, ships, and swords with ease. This is also how I believe a black blade is forged. In order to turn your sword into a black blade, you must first understand its voice and influence its will, bending it to match your own. This can only be achieved by building a bond with the blade over countless battles. Before we get into the crazy revelation,
before he gets into his crazy revelation, bro, hold on. Well, it was something he said that kind of, he said something, right? Enlightenment, right? Like, what are we talking about? The voice of all things, right? We know Luffy is able to project his voice, right? And if we're looking at voice of all things being related to the observation haki, then think of this, right? Think of this. Him talking about this eye of enlightenment, right? This would be the highest, I guess, level of observation haki, whether you want to talk about voice of all things or observation haki or whatever, right? It's the highest level you can achieve in observation haki, probably possibly higher than the voice of all things. So that makes me think, right? We look at Luffy able to project his voice to his allies, right? They can hear his voice while he's pretty much unconscious. Now think of this, Mihawk, like he's talking about this eye and how it's like the highest level of observation haki / the voice of all things. That kind of plays into what I've said before, right? Remember again, going back to Marineford, Mihawk or Luffy's encounter with Mihawk. Luffy was about to attack Mihawk. I forgot the attack he was about to do. Somebody could remind me in the chat, right? He was about to attack him, but before he went through with his attack, he seen what would happen if he actually went through with the attack, and he seen Mihawk cutting his arms off. Now at this point, Mihawk or Luffy ain't know nothing about no observation haki. He ain't know nothing about future sight haki. He couldn't use future sight haki. I mean, we learned that he didn't really learn how to use future sight haki until mid-fight of Katakuri. So, was this possibly Mihawk projecting future sight into Luffy using an awakening version of observation haki? You know, to a point where you could, just like Luffy's able to project his voice into people, maybe you can also project images into people. Like you could grant people future sight haki for a split second, you know? So maybe he's on to something about this whole eye of enlightenment having something to do with observations / the voice of all things. That's all I'm saying, which something I've kind of already thought. I already kind of considered this, but let's continue.
I have planned, we need to talk about one more thing, or rather one more person who connects all of these dots together. Monkey D. Luffy. Why is Luffy so important? He's not an ancient weapon, he's not a god, he's not an enlightened or royal being, but Luffy's important because he's Luffy. There is no one else in the entire One Piece world like him. Although there are others who have also shared characteristics of Luffy, none of them were born at the right time, nor did they wield the right power. Now, before I get into the devil fruit part, I want to say that no, I don't think Roger had the Gomu Gomu no Mi. I think that every generation there is one person born with the same ambition and the same will as the one who came before in the previous generation. However, Luffy's devil fruit is very important. It's stated by the Gorosei that Luffy's fruit is a legendary fruit that has not been awakened for centuries. Now, what is this awakening?
It's not fully confirmed, but you know, that's definitely what we believe. That's definitely where the direction the story has been going. And pretty much the last chapter kind of confirmed it, but again, you know, it just wasn't officially confirmed that the devil fruit they was talking about was Luffy's. Now, and I believe it is. I think we all believe it is, but I'm just saying it hasn't been officially confirmed yet, right? Like this whole thing could be a curveball to make us think that was the devil fruit they was talking about, which is still there's still a chance of it not being it, right? Like, not to say that Luffy's devil fruit, you know, it not to say that what's happening with Luffy may not, or what's happening with Luffy doesn't have anything to do with his devil fruit, right? He could be awakening, but it could be still within the scope of his devil fruit. But again, I do personally believe they was talking about his devil fruit, so I'm not like arguing against that. I'm just saying it wasn't officially confirmed that what they were talking about, you know. But it was heavily applied, though. It was heavily implied. Let's continue.
I have a million ideas, but that's not the point of this video. What is important is that Shanks stole this fruit from the government. He gave Luffy his hat after Luffy ate the fruit with the objective to surpass him, and is just now starting to make moves in the new world at the same time Luffy became an Emperor of the Sea. Why would Luffy need to surpass Shanks? Why does King tell Kaido that as long as he's the strongest, he will become the Pirate King? And why does Luffy always say, I need to be the strongest? Most importantly, why did a voice tell Roger that one day someone would come to surpass him? Shanks's plan, Roger's will, Luffy's will, it all ties back to the voice of all things. At the end of this series, there will be a war. Currently in the story, we are knocking down the dominoes that will eventually lead to this conflict. Luffy will probably have the biggest army the world has ever seen, and they will be facing off against the world government. Still, things had to be put in place for this revolution to happen. A plan was set 800 years ago by someone who was knowledgeable of the connection between time, souls, inherited will, and voices. This plan was created because the Joy Boy of that time could not accomplish their dream, but knew that someday someone would. Someone predicted that a certain person with the disposition of a king, the will of freedom, and a heart of solid gold would one day be born and earn this title once again. They would be born at the same time the ancient weapons resurface, and they would be the only person capable of using their power for good. In order to aid that,
Angel's Room said, I don't know, man. If it is a resin fruit, why would the world government fear resin? I think they might be talking about a different devil fruit. Well, I mean, we don't know what it is, right? We don't know what it is. But I actually agree with you. I don't like, this could be Luffy's devil fruit could be awakening, but it could still not be as special as people make it, right? It could still be within the scope of rubber. Like, if you melt rubber, you know, it could be gooey, just like it could be like resinish, right? But that's partially why I said that's also partially why I said it hasn't been officially confirmed, because we could still be wrong about the Gorosei talking about Luffy's devil fruit. I still just like what you said, like your point alone is the exact reason why I said it hasn't been officially confirmed, because we can still be wrong about it, right? Like, all we only got one panel, and that was just like Luffy having like goo, like some gooish substance coming from Luffy's face, right? Like, that's pretty much what we seen, right? And then we see him smile, and then Zunisha talking about like Joy Boy's here. So this could be more of just a Joy Boy thing than anything about the devil fruit. Right? Maybe Joy Boy, again, I know y'all disagree with it. Y'all don't, a couple of y'all don't like this. Joy Boy could be temporarily inheriting Luffy's body. And the fact that, like, I would think somebody like Joy Boy might know how to use it, like he might, his knowledge of devil fruits might be so vast to where he could master any devil fruit like that, right? Like, if he possessed your body and you had like the whatever devil fruit, you could probably master it like that. We don't know. You know, we don't know how Joy Boy is, right? So maybe Joy Boy is just simply awakening Luffy's devil fruit, right? Like, he's possessing his body and he's just awakening the devil fruit, which would have been just a normal awakening for the Gummo Gummo no Mi. That could be the case, you know. It doesn't necessarily mean that Luffy's devil fruit is special, you know. A lot of clues that some of y'all showed me about like Luffy, or like that I've seen like a lot of arguments, I don't really, they don't really, I'm not really sold on them. Like the whole Jet Calverin when his arm moves a certain way, and people say, "Oh, that's weird." Like that's weird. I don't see those as clues as Luffy's devil fruit being special. You know, it's just he's just doing something unique. You know, like he's stretching his body and he just having more control with it, right? Like, you know, I'm just not fully sold that those are like different properties of like some other devil fruit. Me personally, I'm not sold. Angel's Room said Yami Yami no Mi is number one candidate for me. I don't think it was the Yami Yami no Mi either. I think whatever devil fruit, it had to be something that was it had to be something that was there at the moment, right? It had to be somebody's devil fruit that was in Wano. Like they was talking about Wano, and then they start talking about this devil fruit. So I don't know. I don't know if it's the Yami Yami though. But let's continue.
That person, they left behind a map to guide them, forged into unbreakable stone so that the plan could never be erased. The voices of the Kozuki reside within the stone, constantly speaking of the importance of this person, so even those that come too early are guided in the right direction. When the time comes...
But I will say this. I'm sorry I keep cutting. I will say this. I think the fact that they really wanted to kill Luffy like right there and then, they was like, hey, you know, drop what you're doing, go kill Luffy. I think that is kind of a evidence that maybe it is Luffy's devil fruit. Like I will say that. I think that is strong evidence that it. You know, they was just simply talking about like this devil fruit that hasn't awakened in hundreds of years, and it has a different name. And then next thing you know, they want to kill Luffy. It's like it does lean heavily to Luffy's devil fruit. It does, you know. And then we get this whole thing with Luffy's like face look like it's melting or goo coming out of his body or something. Resin, a lot of people call it resin, but you know, it doesn't even look that much from what's his name who was with the Doflamingo pirates, the Don Quixote pirates. He was one of the commanders, the gooey one. It was Pika, Diamante, and I don't remember the other guy's name, but him. You know, it looked kind of like him. You know what I mean? It was like gooish like him, you know. So, but yeah, my bad, y'all. Let's continue.
The person of promise will have to be the strongest. Of course, the people who predicted this knew that he would want to, since his dream would be the same as those who came before him. And in order to accomplish that same dream, one needs to be the strongest. During his journey to find strength, he will also find knowledge. This knowledge, this strength, and his ability to gather comrades is what will lead him to commanding the biggest army and the world's most powerful creatures. Once he has accomplished what the others before him could not, a dawn will arise upon the world and their shared dream can finally be attained. Oda used Zoro, Blackbeard, Usopp, Aja, Kobe, Momo, Shirahoshi, Vivi, Roger, Odin, and Luffy to show us that there is a wavelength in this world that connects everything. It hasn't given us all of the answers yet, but the voice has guided us, the fans, clue by clue to the eventual conclusion. One thing that I know is a huge question mark in the One Piece community right now is Shanks' true role in the story. I have some ideas that might twist your brain, so I'm gonna give you until the end of this sentence to click this video right.
All right, man. Shout out the Sunlight Alliance. Let's give your boy a like. Y'all go like his video. You know, show him some love. Show his video some love. But yeah. So okay, bam. All right, man. So yeah, I still disagree that just I disagree. I think Angel's Room. I think you kind of got me confused. I think basic hockey, like basic observation, like the usually like the first level of observation hockey people learn. You know, usually or awaken. You know, kind of like what we see Luffy at Sabaody, or when we just see people like. You try to shoot them and they just dodge it. They just know where to, You know what I'm saying? Like that. I think that like that's what I call basic observation, right? And I think at that, it's like that's pretty much all you get right there. But then when you start getting into higher levels, I think people have they'll be adept, right? They're more adept towards being able to hear voices of things that they're more in tune with, right? Like Zoro, for example. Zoro has trained so much with his swords, that he's in tune with his swords. He's trained all his life to be in tune with his swords, so he can feel its will. He's always been like that, even beginning this series before he even had observation hockey. At least like a confirmed observation hockey, to where he could just use it. Like before he had it mastered, right? Sanji, he's in tune. He loves women, right? He loves, anytime a woman's in danger, he'll go risk his life for it. That's like a level of intunement, like he's in tune with the hearts of women. I guess you could say, even though he's bad at getting them. So he can hear if a woman's in trouble, like especially in extreme circumstances, right? And I think it's also part of emotion. It's like it has something to do with emotions. But as for where the voice of all things, you can hear like maybe the voices within the stone, or the voices within the person, the voices within animals, right? So again, I think when you say that like anybody with hockey can hear voices, I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I think it's more on they can hear the voices of something that they're super in tune with, at like a high degree of being in tune with it, right? And but to be able to use it in a sense to where you could just, like Luffy, right? You have to have the voice of all things, like Luffy isn't in tune with animals, right? Or sea kings. I mean, but then again, Luffy's personality, I think the voice of all things kind of it kind of makes to where you are in tune with anything, right? That's why you can hear anything, but that's because Luffy, Luffy's a special individual, right? Luffy's a special individual, but he doesn't like go trying to form. When I say he's not in tune, I mean like at a level as Zoro is in tune with his swords, because he trained with them so much. Like I don't believe Luffy is in tune in that way. He's just more of a naturally like instinct. He's instinctually in tune with things, right? Where it's just more of an instinct. Where Zoro actually had to pretty much train all his life with these swords, and Sanji just he just has an obsession with women. Like he's obsessive with women, so that makes him in tune with them, because he has an obsession, just like Zoro has an obsession with swords. Or Frankie has an obsession with buildings, so he might be able to hear the voices of his creations. I don't know, Some people are special though. Like I'll probably say that little girl, Asia or whatever her name, I think she might be a special case, right? I think she's a special case. Usopp and the Clobberton man, I don't know if I would count that as like any voice of all things or observation hockey thing. I think it was just that spirit literally manifested itself. But yeah. But okay. I kind of, before I end this, I kind of want to talk about something. Like, I don't know if Cube is still in the chat, but if you're in the chat, man, say something. Say something, Cube. Because I kind of want to talk about, what you was talking about earlier. So I want to get your guys' opinion on something, okay? Something Cube sent in the Discord, and I want to get your guys' opinion. So let's pull that up. right here. All right. So we got this panel from early in the series, and Cube sent this. I guess there was he thought, he felt it meant something, So I kind of want to get your guys' opinion on it. It says, "What are you, you freak?" Right. This is this guy over here. I forget the guy with the lamb head back in that town that Buggy was in when we first was introduced to Buggy. This was like one of Buggy's crewmates. He says, "What are you, you freak?" And then Luffy says, "A long time ago, I ate the fruit of the gum gum tree." And then the guy asked, "The gum gum tree? You ate the devil's fruit like Captain Buggy." So yeah, so pretty much it's implying that there's a gum gum tree. I personally think that it was more maybe something where Oda kind of he didn't have a full grasp of certain concepts like the devil fruit, like the origins of devil fruits, right? Like he might not have been fully fleshed out of the origins of devil fruit. So it was, I kind of take it as like it was just like a Oda giving, Oda maybe experimenting or something. Angel's Room said, let me read what he said. I kind of missed some of this stuff. He said, Angel's Room said, you're right on the basic part. The doctor said it was higher than basic. But he did still say it was a common form. That's why I'm saying VOT is different from observation. Well, about that, I think I think Voice of All Things is part of observation. It's not. How can I explain this? All right. Take the. I'm gonna say something. It might sound a little stupid, but it's true. It's a fact, right? It's a fact. But take this. It's gonna be. It sounds stupid to bring up, but I'm gonna say this. A square is a rectangle. A square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not a square. Okay. Now, why I say that? Now, what is a rectangle? A rectangle is pretty much a shape with it's a shape with 4 90-degree corners. I mean, I don't got the exact definition of it, so I might be a little wrong about it. It's a square with 4 corners, right? Or a parallelogram, I think that's what you call it. Has 4 sides and it has 90-degree angles, right? So, like for example, we take this box with this panel in. It has 4 90-degree angles, right? Each side is parallel with each other, right? Like, so these 2 sides are parallel. These 2 sides are completely parallel. It has 4 90-degree angles, and I think that's pretty much everything in a rectangle, right? A square is pretty much everything that you would classify a rectangle, except with a square, each side has to be equal, right? Each side has to be exactly the same length. So a rectangle couldn't be a square because like this rectangle, all the sides aren't even. But a square still has everything a rectangle has. So a square is a rectangle, if that makes sense. I know it's kind of you might like, why the hell you explaining this? Same thing with Voices of All Things. I would say Voices of All Things is kind of a level of observation hockey, or it's a version of observation hockey mixed with Conqueror's hockey, though, right? That's the one thing that's separated. Now, observation hockey isn't going to be Voice of All Things. Like, like you can have observation hockey and not have the Voice of All Things. But I think Voice of All Things is like it's like a version of observation hockey that you might have to be special in order to get. But as far as this panel, Angel's Room said, I think does to Luffy because Luffy says the same thing in Romance Dawn. That way, I'm saying, I think it does too because Luffy says the same thing about the gum gum tree. Explain. What do you think the gum gum tree is? I'm curious. I personally think I think the gum gum tree was a concept that Oda used because he didn't fully have a good origin of the devil fruits, right? And so I think, you know, he might have had an idea that he wanted the tree to be its origin, but it's like, you know, he didn't have the whole Adam and Eve tree thought out yet, right? Like, I think this might have been before the whole Adam and Eve concept came out. So, but I don't think there is a gum gum tree. I don't think it's like the only devil fruit that came from a separate tree than every other tree. You know, I mean, I guess if it's that special, but you said, yeah, in the Romance Dawn one shot, he says the same thing. But again, the Romance Dawn isn't, you know, it's not, that's Romance Dawn. We talking about like this, because this is in the actual story. So, I mean, I can't really, and again, Romance Dawn happened before, you know, Oda probably had a concept of the origins of the devil fruit. That's what I'm saying. It's pretty much what I'm saying. Like all this right here happened early in the series, right? Like the beginning of the series. Give me a second, guys. Sorry, y'all. Your boy, I was getting a bit hot. Getting a little hot. So yeah, with the Romance Dawn, I don't, you know, that was early, right? That was like before the main story. This is still early, and my point is this right here, because I don't even remember this in the English version. This was like I don't even remember that ever being said. That was some random stuff that Cube sent me, right? So, or he shared in the Discord and tagged me because he wanted me saying something about it. So I kind of want to talk about it here. I just think it was early. Like I think like this was before Oda had like a concept of the devil fruit origin, the origins of the devil fruit, right? So he might have been flirting with the whole just a gum gum tree just for now. Like we never heard about a gum gum tree ever since then. Luffy's never said, yeah, my devil fruit came from the gum. Like, yeah, I ate this from the gum gum tree, right? You know, this right here is the only time I've ever seen anything about a gum gum tree. Like, you know. So I don't know. I don't think it means anything. Or I'm not saying it don't mean anything. I think at the time of him doing it, I think it was Oda giving it an origin, for giving the devil fruit an origin before he fully had everything thought out and more fleshed out, like with the whole Adam and Eve tree possibly. So like that's my opinion. Could it mean something more? Yeah, it could. I mean, but again, I don't know. You know, sometimes I think, again, like I said earlier, y'all just be coming up with stuff like, hey, you know, like, y'all be like, hey, man, what about that time Luffy was tying the shoe and then some guy came up and said, hey, we cousins. And then he walked away. Hey, man, there's something about that devil fruit. I'm like, okay, I guess. Y'all be seeing theories in everything. I swear y'all be seeing something in everything. Y'all be getting y'all talking about theory know me, boy. I tell y'all. Angel's Room said Luffy gonna turn into a gum gum tree. I'm joking. But yeah, man, that's wild. I don't know. I don't think much of that though. So I'm gonna let that go. Anybody, y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think about that gum tree. You know, is that a thing? Y'all think that's a thing, or is it like y'all with me, like something maybe Oda kind of it's the best idea Oda had before he had the concept of the origin of devil fruits fully fleshed out. Y'all let me know. But yeah, y'all make sure y'all follow that link to Sunlight Alliance's page and go show your boy some love. Tomorrow I probably won't be streaming because I will be streaming Saturday. I gotta talk to Best Gen, you know, because I might be doing 2 streams. I don't know. I'm just waiting on Best Gen to hit me back, because we might do a stream early Saturday, and then I'm gonna be doing a stream with Elids on Saturday as well. So y'all might get 2 streams from me. The Elids stream I'm not gonna be hosting, so y'all gonna have to go to his channel. ELIDZ. Go just look it up if you need to find it. I'll put the I'll share it on my social media and I'll share it in the Discord. So y'all look out for that, right? Y'all look out for that. But yeah, I'm probably not gonna be hosting that on my channel. So yeah, and y'all might catch me one earlier that day with Best Gen. I just gotta get with him, make sure, you know, the times and everything align well. And yeah, so tomorrow I won't be streaming. Yeah, I know I didn't stream yesterday, but tomorrow I won't be streaming. I'm gonna be going hard after that. It's gonna be Saturday stream, Sunday stream, Monday stream, Tuesday stream. Y'all know how I work. Unless something come up like a job and you know your boy got to make some money, right? Your boy got to make his money. Angel Room said thank you for the stream. Hey man, thanks for appearing. Thanks for showing up, man. I always appreciate you guys when y'all show up. But yeah, so make sure y'all hit that like button. Show your boy some love. Hit that like button. Also subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. And follow me on Facebook. And if you're looking for a One Piece community to be a part of, we have the One Piece Discord and we have the One Piece Facebook group. All of these will be linked in the description box below. And yeah, man, shout out to everybody that showed up, man. We got Elson Jacketon, of course. Shout out to him. Shout out to Cube. Shout out to Angel's Room. Shout out to shout out to Sunlight Alliance. Shout out to Sunlight Alliance. And man, yeah. Appreciate Sunlight Alliance for coming through, you know, chatting a little bit. And yeah, that's pretty much everybody. Yeah, y'all have a good, we'll be on Thursday. Y'all have a good Thursday evening, you know. Catch me this Saturday. I should be on Eli's channel, and I should be doing a stream with Best Generation. Hopefully things. I just gotta close on some stuff, you know, like a time, and you know, cause I think he might want to do it next Saturday. I'm not too sure. So if it's this Saturday, y'all gonna get 2 streams. I'm gonna definitely post, and if not, then y'all gonna catch me on the stream with Elids, right? So if I don't do the Best Gen stream, y'all might catch the Elid stream on my stream as well. I might do like a duo thing or something. I don't know. But anyway, it's your boy Sean P. the Blumph God, and I am out. Y'all take it easy. Peace.